Nikola left for Budapest. When he arrived, he found out there was no telephone exchange. His uncle's friend was still trying to build it. There was no job for Nikola. Instead, Nikola went to work for the local telegraph office. Eventually, the telephone exchange was built. Nikola worked as its chief engineer. He made many improvements to the company's equipment, even impressing the inventor of the machinery himself. But Nikola was still more interested in figuring out how to perfect his alternating currents theory. He imagined a world in which his AC invention powered up machines in every factory and in every home. In the early 1880s, very few places had electricity. Not many people understood this mysterious current. It seemed like magic, or like something out of a science fiction book. Nikola could see a future in which alternating currents made electricity an everyday part of life. His AC motor would make that a reality if he could just make it work. In February 1882, Nikola was walking in a park in Budapest with a friend. He was reciting poetry when he stopped in his tracks. "See my engine here," he exclaimed to his friend. "Watch me reverse it." His friend had no idea what Nikola was talking about. He means that he could now imagine using magnets to reverse the direction of an electric current so that they could produce a turning force in a motor. Nikola excitedly began scratching in the dirt with a stick. He was drawing what had appeared in his mind. The plans for what would become a kind of alternating current motor called an induction motor. It could be done. Nikola had been right all along. His professor had been wrong. Nikola was very excited. "For a while I gave myself up entirely to the intense enjoyment of picturing machines," he said. Over the next 2 months, he imagined all the designs for an alternating current system, every nut and bolt for dynamos, motors, transformers, and more. In April that year, Nikola went to work for the Compagnie Continentale Edison in Paris. It was the French office of the Continental Edison Company, which had been created by the great American inventor Thomas Alva Edison. One of Nikola's jobs was installing a lighting system at the Paris Opera House. He traveled to work on other lighting systems in Germany and France too. All of them were DC electrical systems, the only system in use at the time. In his spare time, Nikola finally built a model of the AC motor he had envisioned months earlier. It worked just as he knew it would. However, he could not find anyone willing to invest the money he needed to build an entire system. No one but Nikola seemed to realize how important it was. Thomas Alva Edison, 1847 to 1931. Thomas Edison was an American inventor and businessman. In a long career that began when he started the first business in 1869, he created hundreds of inventions. Nicknamed the Wizard of Menlo Park, Menlo Park was the town in New Jersey where his laboratory was located. His inventions were among the most important in the world. He created the first practical light bulb and the photograph, the world's first record player. He also worked to improve other inventions, such as the motion picture camera and the typewriter. Edison's work helped change the way people live. One of Nikola's bosses in Paris was sent by the company to work for Thomas Edison in New York. He suggested that Nikola do the same. So Nikola made plans to travel by boat to the United States. But shortly before leaving Paris, he was robbed of his money and most of his luggage. Nikola arrived in New York on June 6, 1884, with 4 cents in his pocket and a note of introduction from J. Puskás, a Hungarian inventor, to give to Thomas Edison. I know 2 great men, and you are one of them. Puskás wrote to Edison. The other is this young man. Thomas Edison hired Nikola to work at Edison Machine Works and nicknamed him the Parisian. He was impressed by Nikola's dedication to his work. In fact, his long hours were much like Edison's. Edison was famous for working around the clock, sometimes stopping only to nap in his clothes for a few hours right in his laboratory. One day, Edison was leaving the office at 5 o'clock in the morning after working all night. Here is our Parisian running around at night, Edison joked. But Nikola wasn't running around. He spent the entire night fixing the dynamos, the electricity generators, Edison's company, and installed it on board a ship called the SS Oregon. It was one of the first ships with an electric lighting system. Edison was very impressed. Not long after, Edison gave Nikola the task of redesigning the company's direct current generators, the machines that actually produced all of their electricity. It was a huge job that involved designing more than 20 different machines. If Nikola could do it, he was told he would be paid a $50,000 bonus. Nikola worked from 10:30 in the morning until 5 o'clock the next morning every day for nearly a year. When he finally completed the work, Edison told Nikola that he had been kidding. Talk of the big bonus was all just a joke. You don't understand our American humor, Edison said. Nikola didn't find it very funny. He had worked day and night to redesign the generators. Nikola knew it was time to leave Edison Machine Works.